Do you know that you're being held back by anxiety and depression and just can't figure out how to overcome it? Well, today I'm going to have Valerie here with us to share her testimony of how she was able to overcome anxiety and depression. She worked with us at Achieve Emotional Mastery to be able to heal emotionally, physically, and spiritually. Her testimony is inspiring, and I believe that it will help you to feel understood and to not feel alone in where you're at right now, but most of all, to be inspired to step up and to change your life. And so again, we have Valerie here. She's one of our graduates from Achieve Emotional Mastery, and she's going to share with us exactly where she started and where she is now, and hopefully inspire you to step up and change your life as well. Well, Valerie, thank you so much for being here. It's been such a pleasure working with you. And so I want to just share with our audience your transformation. And so what I'm going to do really is let's rewind the clock a bit and let's go back to the beginning. I know you feel great now. And so that's where you're at now, but let's take it back to the beginning. Before we started working together, what were you struggling with to overcome?
It's so funny. It seems like I couldn't even remember who that was. I had to go back and read my journals and remind myself where I was, because I'm in such a different place now. I was struggling with anxiety, a lot of anxiety, which led to depression.
I love how you just said that. It's amazing when you shift, like how quickly it just changes. You just forget. You're just like, it's gone, it's done. So if you can kind of think back to before we started working together, what was probably some of the biggest struggles you faced with? Because what I remember is that very high functioning, you were very well put together, had, you were thriving in your career, getting the job done, but still struggling with this. And so when you look back at that, like what was the hardest part of appearing to the rest of the world that you've got it together, while behind the scenes, not so much?
That was the thing. I couldn't keep it up anymore. I couldn't keep the facade up anymore. So I feel like looking back now, I can probably say that I was probably dealing with this for years. It was so hard to try to keep it together that there was no keeping it together. I wasn't functioning anymore. I just couldn't. I didn't function. It just kind of all, like a house of cards, just all fell.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so when you say that, what do you mean? Like you weren't functioning? Like, can you give us a little more on that?
So I'm in sales. So I'm out in the field all day, and I'm, supposed to make a certain amount of calls, and I just physically couldn't do it. I would talk, I would go into one call, get in my car and just cry, pull it together, go into the next call, and then get back into my car and just cry. Like, it was like, it was like crazy. Yeah, it was crazy. It was exhausting trying to get through the day.
Yeah, that's intense though. So hold it together long enough for the sales call, and then have a mini meltdown and just this cycle. And if I remember right, you did choose to take some time off from work to work on yourself, right? Like, hey, I got to pull this together.
Yeah, I just couldn't do it anymore. So I decided to take a leave and work on myself, and joined forces with you.
Yes. So yeah, perfect. And I love that, because I feel like that's where a lot of our clients are at, where they're searching and they're like, there's got to be something out there. And then next thing you know, here they are watching the MasterClass, a few interviews, and it was such great timing, I think, for you, because you had already determined, hey, I'm going to focus right here. I've got to get better. So what was the motivating factor for you in that moment of going, I've got to be able to get my life back?
Well, I took the leave, and then I was like, okay, well, now what do I do? What do I do? I've read all the books, I've done all the therapy, and it kind of wasn't helping. So I just didn't know what to do. And this was just pure coincidence that, I came, it was like, God.
It's a God moment. It's a God moment. But
yeah. And
Beautiful.
I was willing to do anything. I think I've told you this before. If you would have told me to stand on my head and pat my belly, I would have done it just to feel better. Like, I was willing to try anything. But
it's beautiful. That's good. And that's the kind of desperation that you need. It's like, whatever I got to do, I am ready to do it. And as you know, and we won't give too much away here, but obviously there's work to be done, right? There's changes that have to be made. And so I need you to have that kind of umph in that fire in your belly to go, whatever I need to do, I'm ready to do it. That's beautiful. So Valerie, let's fast forward. So I had a couple questions there, but let's go ahead and fast forward. So tell us where you are now.
I am probably better than I was before all this. Like I
That's good.
2.0. Like my goal was just to get back to baseline, but
okay.
I'm above baseline.
Say that back to being fine. Back to being fine.
Right.
Okay.
I wanted to just be fine, back to baseline, like crying home when I'm done with the day. But no, just baseline. That was all my actual goal was. So I totally superseded my goal and actually being better. Val 2.0.
That's beautiful. I love that, because sometimes that's where you have to start. It's like, I just want to get back to where I was, but I'm like, we can do better than that. We really can, but it just takes a minute to open your vision up to that. Beautiful. That's beautiful, Valerie. So now I know you went back to work. So tell me a little bit about work, because that was a big place for you where there was a problem. So how does it look now?
Work is always going to be work, but
okay.
My mindset around work is changed. So I'm much coming from a place of gratitude now. I'm just so grateful for our time together. I'm grateful for my time that I was able to take off of work. Like I'm just in a totally different mindset.
I love that. I love that. Just approaching it with gratitude. That's good. That's good. So tell me, what else has changed? So again, we work on healing physically, emotionally, spiritually. So what, in these three areas, what have you noticed benefits?
So the biggest thing would probably be spiritually. My spiritual life has just come to life. There wasn't much of it. So that has just been such a blessing. I can't even, I don't know what other word to say it. Physically, I want to say I was probably dealing with some mindset of like body issues and eating stuff and overworking out and things that like I kind of do, but I was like, oh, fine, they're healthy vices,
habits.
Sort of.
Yeah. Okay.
So, some of that mind chatter has gone away, like that's kind of just fallen away. Like I feel so I wasn't expecting those things that I didn't think was a problem to be better. Yeah.
So let's talk about the spiritual component for a moment, because I recall your wording around it, like it was like you grew up with it, you knew of God, but it wasn't like a real tangible thing for you, and that has completely shifted. So we just talk about that for a minute, like how your relationship with God has really shifted. It's been very beautiful.
I feel that I used to always say I'm spiritual. I talk, but I didn't really ever take the time to get to know him. So now I'm learning really what he did for us and found my place, found a community that I can go to and worship and all that. So I just feel like I just leveled up spiritually. Like it's huge.
Yeah. It is huge. It is. And again, to make sure we understand, like it's huge for having that peace and having that joy. It's a huge part of what we do in our room. That's beautiful, Valerie. Thank you for sharing that. And then let's come back to the physical part, because I loved what you said there. And I see this all the time where we tend to, especially for those as a coping mechanism with anxiety. It's like, I'm gonna lean in, I'm gonna work out. But you said it's like a healthy vice, which is such a strange thing. And I've had somebody else recently just say this it was same, where she was just working out like a fiend, but not in a healthy way. But now that's much more balanced. Like, of course, exercise is important, but in a healthy, a healthy kind of way. Okay.
I would have to work out before work. Then I would go to work, and then it was like before the anxiety, get it out first and start the day with good endorphins.
Wow.
And I would go back to the gym at night. I was working out 2 times a day for 6 days a week for years. I was breaking my body down. And it was the only way to keep the endorphins. It was the only way to keep me sane, I would say, And now I just found such peace and joy that like, I got better things to do with my time. That's a lot of time.
That's a lot of time. That's a lot of effort. Just for maintenance, like not even for thriving, just to get through. Wow. Still exercising, but it sounds like a whole lot more enjoyable now.
normal,
Okay.
like 3 to 4 times a
Like
week,
normal.
enjoying my walks with my dog, like normal. Yeah.
I love it. That's good. That's good. Who else would you say has noticed changes in like who around you has noticed these changes that you've made?
My family, of course. They actually just see me being joyful. Like what a concept.
Mm.
Like being happy.
What a concept.
Leaving the house, seeing friends again. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't want to leave the house. I was spending a lot of time just preserving my energy to go back out there when I had to, you know?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So
Wow.
that's huge. Yeah. My friends just didn't want to see them, but didn't want to.
Sure.
So yeah, everybody's seen the shift.
That's good. That's beautiful. That's so interesting about the social part. And I hear that a lot too. We just pull back for lots of different reasons, between not wanting people to ask you how you're doing, to the energy, needing to conserve the energy, just so many things. Wow. So that's back online. I do remember many celebrations around this too. Hey, I went out and hang with the girls and, the whole bit, which is just fun. Just fun.
Mhm.
Yeah. Good. Very good. Very good. So, Valerie, would you share with us a little bit about the different things that you've tried before? I know this is not your first rodeo and you've tried a lot of things. So would you just share some of the things that you've tried, and I'm sure that they did help in some ways, but so what things have you tried? Let's start there.
Well, the exercise accessibly.
Yeah.
I've tried meditation, which I'm just not good at it. Yoga.
Okay.
Oh God, I've read every self-help book in the aisle, in the whole aisle, and which I still enjoy. Counseling for 2 years. I mean,
that was funny. I still enjoy it, which is fine.
yeah,
Okay, that's fine. So, okay, so lots of self-help books. Okay. So counseling, go ahead.
Counseling for 2 years, which
Uh-huh.
I now in retrospect, I'm like, I think that actually did me did worse. It didn't really help. It's like
Interesting. Wow.
constantly looking back and talking about the past. Guess what? Like
Okay.
that's the past. Let's move on. So
Wow.
it was like keeping me stuck almost, I think,
Okay. Wow. I really appreciate you saying that not all counseling is the same, and I'm not against counseling. But I find that so many people find that to be true, of just staring at the past, and how can you move forward to your future if you keep staring at the past? Like that's just not how it works.
Yeah.
Wow. That's profound, Valerie. Thank you for sharing that. It sounds like these different things helped you manage, but again, weren't helping you to thrive or to overcome. So what stands out to you the most about like what's different from those different things you tried from what we've done together at Achieve Emotional Mastery?
It's funny because all of these self-help books have tons of tools and steps and things, and you do all the things and nothing happens. But working together, your guidance has helped. Like it worked. I don't know. I follow the rules and it works.
Follow the rules.
just do what Stacey said. So this is just really doable and easy to follow and just sustainable for life.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's valuable. I love that. Sustainable.
Yeah.
I was just talking about this week of going, hey, this isn't a sprint. This is for the marathon. And it looks different. Like when you are training for a marathon, it looks totally different than a sprint. And we're looking at lifelong health here. Like just how do we be healthy emotionally, physically, spiritually for the long haul? That's beautiful. So what's something you can do now that you couldn't do before we worked together?
Maybe it's not like a tangible do, but I have like a confidence that no matter if I get to a dark place, I know how to get out. Which
that's good.
That's like a fear of like going back there.
Sure.
Like it may happen one day. Like life is life, right? But I know that I know I have the tools to get out of it. I'm not worried about it.
That's really good. I love that. So what would you say about, because one of the things I've noticed from your transformation is that confidence, that confidence that you have, that courage that you have. So where are you at now with being able to handle just life stressors, obstacles, things that come your way?
I just leave it up to God. I'm just like, I'm not going to stress things I can't control. I'm going to do what I can and just see what happens. I'm just so easy breezy these days.
That's so easy breezy. I like that. So easy breezy.
I mean, from type A personality, like I'm going to control every second of my day to like, you know, like little miss schedule to, so what, you're 5 minutes late when the world's not going to end. Just much more relaxed.
That is so funny. I love that. I love just more relaxed, because what's so funny about that is like the way that you say it. And when you're dealing with it, like if somebody tells you, hey, just let go and let God, it's like, you just like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't even understand what you're trying to tell me. Right. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating when you're sitting there in the middle of the anxious zone, but now it's like, it's good. Everything's good. Everything's fine. That's awesome. That is so good. So what would you say to somebody who's watching, listening to your transformation, going, man, I need that. I need to change my life. This sucks. I don't want to stay like this anymore. But I don't know about this Stacy chick, and I don't know about this whole achieve emotional mastery. And I don't know, it sounds like a lot of malarkey to me. What would you say to them? They're sitting on the fence that are like, you know, I don't know about these people. What would you say?
I would say I felt exactly the same way. And to this day, I will never, I mean, you will always be in my like heart. Like you literally have changed my life. So, you know, have faith and just take the plunge. You're worth it.
That's beautiful. I love that. Just who's watching, like you're worth it. Absolutely. Yeah. That's good. That's good. I think the other question I usually like to ask, but I think we kind of hinted at this throughout our time talking, but again, mindset is a big part of what we do. We like to shift our thinking. So what is anything that stands out to you of like your biggest shifts in your mindset that you experienced?
Oh, I mean, I was crying to you that I hated my job. I hated where I lived. I hated everything. I hated everything. I needed to move and find a new job and everything. And now I'm so peaceful, so grateful. And it's like, oh, you going on vacation? No, I just found peace. I'm staying right here. I don't need to go anywhere. I'm good.
Beautiful.
Like I'm just so content and so peaceful that, you know, I don't need to run away.
That is beautiful. That is so good. Because I feel like so many initial conversations I've had with folks is around that. I'm going, well, maybe if I just pick a new city, then it'll be better. If I just have a new job, it'll be better. Oh, it's the marriage that sucks.
Or something, and it doesn't get better. No. So there you are in the same exact boat, and I'm happy as can be.
That's beautiful. I want people to really hear that. The circumstances around you have not changed, but Valerie, you have changed. So gratitude, peace, joy, sharing that light, shining that light, so important. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Well, thank you, Valerie. I want to make sure that I acknowledge the work that you put in. You know how this works, but this is a partnership where I go, hey, these are the things I need you to do, A, B, and C, but it's up to you to do them. And you've been so amazingly coachable. Again, I want to thank you, Valerie, for your work and your effort, because without that, nothing changes. Nothing changes.
Thank you for working with me. I appreciate everything. Thank you.
Very welcome, Valerie.